You think wealth is built by what people own, but the truth is that it is built by what they refuse to buy. Because every purchase is a vote for the kind of life you will live and the kind of person you will become. And while most people are busy buying things to look rich, the richest 1% are quietly buying their freedom. Think about that for a moment. Every real you spend, every small impulse you give into, shapes your future in ways you may not even notice. Every choice to resist temptation, every decision to prioritize value instead of instant gratification, that is the invisible force that multiplies over time. And here's something many do not realize. It is not necessarily about earning more money. It is about what you do with the money you already have. It is about the small leaks you allow to happen every day, believing they are insignificant. But it is exactly those small leaks that, when added up, determine whether you will build wealth or merely survive financially. The difference between someone who accumulates assets and someone who lives paycheck to paycheck is often not income. It is daily choices. It is what they choose not to buy. And that is exactly what we are going to explore today. Today, we are not talking about investments, side hustles, or complicated financial strategies. We are talking about the invisible psychology that separates the rich from everyone else, the hidden choices that quietly build or destroy your future. So let's expose the truth, the things the richest 1% never buy, and what that reveals about your money. The rich do not buy things that come with a financial leash. They do not trade tomorrow's freedom for today's impulse. Because every reel of interest you pay is another chain you hand over to the system. They use debt as a weapon, not as a weakness. For them, loans build assets. For most people, loans build prisons. They understand. You do not own what you buy on credit. It owns you. Consider this. A 5,000 real purchase on a credit card with 18% monthly interest can easily cost over 6,000 by the time it is paid off. That is money that could have been invested in stocks, a business, or real estate, things that generate wealth. Every month you pay interest, you are essentially handing your freedom to someone else. And we're not just talking about credit cards. We're talking about financing furniture, personal loans for trips, installment plans for electronics you don't need right now. Each of these decisions seems small in the moment, but the accumulated cost over the years is astronomical. The rich understand something fundamental. Compound interest works both ways. It can work for you when you invest or against you when you owe. And most people live on the wrong side of that equation. Here's the mindset difference. When an average person wants something, they ask if they can afford the payments. When a rich person wants something, they ask if it will generate a return. If the answer is no, they simply don't buy it. As simple as that. The poor buy symbols of success. The rich buy silence. They know that a car loses 20% of its value the moment it leaves the dealership. That is not transportation, that is financial decay. So while others chase validation, they buy used, they buy smart, and they keep their capital working where it matters, in assets that grow, not in metal that rusts. Imagine this. A luxury car worth 500,000 reais loses 100,000 the second you take it home. That is enough to buy a small income-generating asset. Yet most people still fall into the trap of instant gratification, displaying their success while silently losing financial power every day. But it goes beyond depreciation. There's more expensive insurance, specialized maintenance, imported parts, premium fuel. A luxury car is not just an asset that depreciates, it is an asset that becomes increasingly expensive to maintain. And here's the paradox. Many people buy expensive cars to impress others. But those other people are so worried about their own lives that they barely notice your car. Or worse, they notice and judge you for spending so much money carelessly. The truly rich drive cars that are 3, 5, even 10 years old. Reliable, functional cars that take them from point A to point B without draining their net worth. Because they understand that a car is a tool, not a statement of identity. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, drives a modest car. Mark Zuckerberg, too. Why? Because they do not need to prove anything to anyone. Their bank account speaks for itself, but only to themselves, not to the masses. Designer clothes, flashy watches, the latest gadget. The 1% know that true wealth does not scream, it whispers. They don't need a logo to prove anything. When you truly understand money, you stop spending it to impress people who don't care. They invest in experiences, legacy, and influence, not in brands that disappear with every new trend. Think about this. Buying a 10,000 Hai bag may impress your neighbors for a week, but a 10,000 Hai investment in stocks or a side business can generate income for decades. Value is long-term, not superficial. And here's something fascinating about status symbols. They are designed to make you feel inadequate. The fashion industry, the luxury world, the entire consumerism machine works by creating a feeling of I am not enough until I have this. It's a brilliant psychological game for companies. For you, it's a financial disaster. The rich buy quality, yes. They buy things that last. But they don't buy brands. They buy value. A well-tailored suit that costs 2,000 Hais and lasts 10 years? Yes. A t-shirt with a logo that costs 800? No. The difference is intention. One is about functionality and durability. The other is about ego and insecurity. And what about gadgets? Every year there's a new smartphone, a new tablet, a new revolutionary device. People line up to buy these things on launch day, paying premium prices. The rich wait. They let the early adopters pay the highest price and then buy the previous year's version for a fraction of the cost, or simply keep what already works. Because they understand technology is a tool, not a fashion accessory. If your current phone gets the job done, why upgrade? It starts small. 49 Hais here, 74 Hais there. You forget, but your bank account doesn't. The rich know that small leaks sink great ships. They track every recurring cost as if it were a silent thief. Financial discipline is not about big wins. It's about eliminating 1,000 small losses before they multiply. Think of it this way. If you have 10 unused subscriptions at 50 Hais each, that's 500 a month, 6,000 a year. Over a decade, that's 60,000 disappearing silently. And still, most people don't notice until it's too late. But the subscription problem goes beyond money. It is about attention. Every streaming service, every news app, every platform is competing for your attention. And attention is the most valuable resource you have. The rich do a regular audit of their subscriptions. Every 3 months, they review, do I really use this? Does it add value to my life? If the answer is no, they cancel immediately. No sentimentality, no, but maybe I can use it someday. If you have not used it in the last 3 months, you will not use it. And here's a trick many millionaires use. They consolidate. Instead of having 5 streaming services, they choose 1 or 2. Instead of 3 productivity apps, they choose the best one. Less is more, both for your wallet and for your mental peace. Do this exercise now. Take your bank statement and mark all recurring charges. Then ask yourself honestly, do I use this regularly? Does it significantly improve my life? If not, cancel. You will be shocked at how much money you recover. They do not buy distraction. They buy direction. For most people, time is spent. For the rich, time is invested. Every hour has a return on investment, mental, emotional, or financial. You will rarely find them lost in endless scrolling or meaningless debates. Their entertainment fuels growth, not escape. Even leisure is strategic. Reading a book about entrepreneurship, networking with like-minded people, or learning a new skill pays dividends, while meaningless scrolling only multiplies distraction. Here's an uncomfortable truth. The average person spends more than 3 hours a day on social media. That's 21 hours a week, more than 1,000 hours a year. If you invested those 1,000 hours learning a valuable skill, programming, digital marketing, investing, in 2 years you would be an expert. But instead, those hours are consumed by worthless content that adds nothing to your life. Viral videos, celebrity drama, endless political debates. It is entertainment that feels harmless in the moment, but is lethal over time. The rich see time as their most precious asset. It cannot be recovered, it cannot be bought. Once spent, it is gone forever. So they are extremely selective about how they invest that time. Does that mean they watch TV? Sometimes, but intentionally. They choose programs that add knowledge or perspective, documentaries, biographies, educational content. Not hours of reality shows designed to drain your brain. Do they play video games? Occasionally, but they set limits. 1 hour to relax after a productive day? Sure. 4 hours lost in a game that builds nothing? Never. And here's something crucial. The rich curate their media consumption. They do not let algorithms decide what they will watch, read, or listen to. They actively choose content that aligns with their goals. That is control. That is intention. Compare that with most people who open their phone and let the infinite feed decide how they will spend the next hours. That is not a choice. It is surrender. The rich never buy under pressure. They do not click add to cart to fill an emotional void. Impulse is the enemy of intention. Before every purchase, they ask, is this an asset or a liability? That one question builds more wealth than any investment course ever could. Even small impulsive purchases, a 20 reais snack every day, a 250 reais gadget every week, add up to thousands of reais a year. Multiply that over a lifetime, and it's enormous. The 1% recognize that discipline in small things creates freedom in big things. Here's the psychology behind impulsive purchases. They are rarely about the item itself. They're about emotion. You had a stressful day at work, so you buy something to feel better. You're bored, so you buy something to feel a spark of excitement. You feel inadequate, so you buy something to fill that void. The rich recognize these emotional patterns and interrupt the cycle. They create systems to avoid impulsive decisions. For example, many use the 48-hour rule. If they want to buy something they did not plan for, they wait 48 hours. If they still want it after that time, they consider it. Most of the time, the desire disappears. Another system, the cost per use rule. Before buying something, they calculate how many times they will use it and divide the cost. 1,000 reais jacket, you wear 100 times, 10 reais per use. Great deal. A 500 reais gadget you use 3 times, 166 reais per use. Terrible deal. These systems remove emotion from the equation. And when you remove emotion, you make better decisions. They do not buy competition. They buy freedom from comparison. Chasing what others have is the fastest way to lose yourself. The rich are not interested in looking rich. They're obsessed with staying free. True power is living below your means so that no one else owns your peace of mind. Imagine living without needing to impress others. Every decision becomes about growth, not perception. That is the mindset that separates financial stability from perpetual struggle. There's a concept in economics called consumption conspicuous. Buying things not because you need them, but because you want others to see that you can buy them. It's a devastating trap. Your neighbors buy a new car. You feel pressure to buy one too. Your friends go to an expensive resort. You feel like you need to do the same. Your coworker buys a luxury watch. Suddenly, yours looks inadequate. This is the trap of keeping up with others. It's a race you can never win, because there will always be someone with more. There will always be a bigger house, a more expensive car, more extravagant vacations. The rich choose to leave that race completely. They define success on their own terms. For some, it's financial freedom, having enough money to never need to work again. For others, it's impact, building something that changes lives. For others still, it's time, being able to spend more time with family. But it's rarely about having more things than the neighbor, because they understand when you define success by external validation, you will never have enough. You will never be rich enough, never successful enough. It's a prison. They know shortcuts lead to dead ends. While everyone chases overnight success, they focus on slow, deliberate growth. Consistency beats hype every time. True wealth is patience multiplied by discipline. They invest in knowledge, relationships, and assets that multiply. A stock or a business might not make you rich overnight, but steady growth over years produces freedom that flashy schemes never will. Every year, a new scheme appears. Obscure cryptocurrencies, multi-level marketing disguised as a business opportunity, courses promising six figures in 90 days. And every year, millions of people lose money chasing these empty promises. The rich don't fall for these traps because they understand a fundamental truth. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There is no free lunch. There is no wealth without effort. They prefer the proven path, building real value over time, investing in solid companies, developing valuable skills, creating sustainable businesses. These things are not sexy. They don't promise instant results, but they work. Warren Buffett built his fortune over decades, not weeks. Jeff Bezos took years to make Amazon profitable. Every real success story is a story of persistence, not shortcuts. The rich never buy something they don't understand. They read, study, and ask questions before committing a single rias. Ignorance is the most expensive thing you can buy. Curiosity is the cheapest insurance against mistakes. Every investment, every decision is measured against knowledge. They know that wisdom multiplies faster than money when applied correctly. If a millionaire does not understand how an investment works, they do not invest. As simple as that. It doesn't matter how profitable it seems. It doesn't matter how many people are doing it. If they cannot explain how it works, they don't put money into it. This protects them from scams, bubbles, and bad decisions. While others chase the next big thing without understanding it, the rich wait, study, and then only decide. They do not buy validation. They don't need applause. The loudest voices are often the most broken minds. Their self-esteem is not for sale. And that's the real reason they win. Because when your happiness depends on what others think, you will always spend to fill a void that cannot be filled. Freedom comes from within. Peace comes from choice. Wealth comes from focus. So, what's the pattern here? The rich do not avoid spending. They avoid spending without purpose. They buy time, freedom, and control. Every decision they make is rooted in a silent principle. Money is energy. You direct it, or it directs you. Before buying your next thing, stop